Welcome to this week's Workplace series. And today we're talking about being underestimated at work. Have you ever been underestimated at work? I certainly have. It might have been someone assuming that you were too young, too quiet, too new, not senior enough. Perhaps they thought that you were too technical, too operational, or somehow didn't fit the image or the mold of what it was that they were expecting. Now, when this happens, it can be frustrating. It can also feel incredibly unfair. And in the workplace, where impressions shape whether opportunities are going to be presented to you, being underestimated can feel deeply discouraging. But there's also an upside if you know how to use it. The writer Joan Didion once reflected that people often forget her presence because it ran counter to their interests. And so, in other words, because she appeared unobtrusive, people underestimated her and underestimated what she was noticing. That is part of the hidden opportunity. When someone underestimates you, they've made an assumption about you. Now, that assumption may be wrong, incomplete, based on biased information or perspectives. And because they think they already know you and what you can do, they may not be paying close enough attention. Now, this is where the upside comes in because it gives you room to move, gives you space to prepare, to observe, to position yourself, and then to surprise expectations. So, rather than letting someone else's limited, narrow view of you become that ceiling on your career, ask yourself, how can I use this to my advantage? How can I use it wisely? Now, here are 7 tactics to consider. The first is to release that pressure, because when expectations are sky high, the pressure to perform can become really heavy. You can get caught up worrying about whether you're going to let someone down, disappoint them, whether you're going to live up to that label of the person who is that high perfectionist performer. But when you're underestimated, that pressure can actually drop away. You're not carrying the weight or the burdens of expectations and other people's inflated opinion of you. And that actually creates freedom to move. You can focus less on proving yourself and more on actually just doing good work, less on performing and more on delivering good outcomes. Focus less on managing the image and more on creating deep, lasting, meaningful impact. Second, and that's about surprising expectations. Now, this isn't about grandstanding. It's about consistent quality delivery. It's about doing the work and doing it well. It's being reliable. It's following through on commitments. It's adding value. It's taking on challenges. It's bringing those ideas to the table, solving the problems. And over time, that consistent performance rewrites a person's perception of you. Now, people may not change their view because you told them to. They're changing it because the evidence that they see in front of them becomes too hard to ignore. Now, tactic number 3, and this is first mover advantage. And if you've ever studied negotiation tactics before, you'll know that this is something that is often used. Because when someone underestimates you, they're coming into a conversation often underprepared. They may not expect you to hold your ground. They may not expect you to ask the hard questions or for you to be as prepared as you are for the conversation. They may not expect you to raise the issue, to start the negotiation, or to put those options on the table. And that gives you the opportunity to frame up that conversation from the beginning. And when you go first, when you do that framing, you set the scene. You can anchor the conversation. You can shape what gets considered. You can shape the parameters and scope of the conversation. Now, for all of that to work, of course, you need to be prepared, and you don't want to rush in a way that's careless, but you also don't want to wait passively for someone else to decide that that conversation needs to happen. Tactic number 4, this is about elevating your skills. When you're underestimated, it can over time start to impact your sense of self-esteem, but don't shrink. What you want to be able to do is keep building your value. Be that leader of your career. Deepen your expertise. Stretch your thinking. Build the skills that align with where you want to go next. Now, that might be a course, a certification, finding a mentor, taking on a challenging project, something that is deliberate practice that's stretching you and demonstrating things that you can do that perhaps people thought you weren't able to do. Now, the goal isn't just collecting credentials for the sake of it. The goal is about increasing your options, strengthening your confidence, and expanding the value that you're bringing to the table. Tactic number 5, and this is about building your positioning at work. Look, at work, and I've seen this happen, and it's happened to me, it's really easy to get pigeonholed. You become the numbers person, the quiet one, the fixer, that safe pair of hands, the operational person, or the person who's good with people. Now, some of those labels, some of that boxing can be helpful, but often it's incredibly limiting. And when you're underestimated, that full capability view, that full understanding of what it is that you can do is sometimes not yet defined in other people's minds. That gives you a chance to proactively shape the story. So what you want to do is look for the opportunities to showcase your skills and the skills that you want to be known for. That might involve volunteering for work that aligns with your strengths and aspirations, sharing your thinking, bringing your insight into the room, and making sure that your contribution is visible. Now, you want to do that in a way where it's not about making it all about you, but you do need to let people know what it is that you're doing and the value that you bring. That way, over time, you become deliberately known for what it is you deliberately want to be known for. Tactic number 6 is all about connections. Yeah, capability matters, but careers don't just advance on capability. You need people around you who understand your value, people who can open up the doors for you, who can offer different perspectives, who can challenge your thinking, who can advocate for you when you're not in the room. And that means building deep, meaningful, sustainable relationships before you need them. Find those mentors who are going to guide you, the sponsors who are going to speak for you, the allies who will collaborate with you. Influence grows through connection, contribution, and trust. Now, the final tactic, this is number 7. It's about challenging yourself. When you get underestimated, it can erode that sense of self. And the challenge, of course, is sometimes the person underestimating you is you. You may be telling yourself that you're not ready, you're not experienced enough, you're not strategic enough, you're not confident enough, you're just not enough. And that internal dialogue, that internal self-assessment becomes just as limiting, if not more so, than the assumptions that other people are making about you. So, check the story that you're telling yourself. Are you being realistic? Or are you staying safe and playing small? Are you assessing the risk, or are you avoiding that stretch? Are you looking for what's possible, or are you only replaying what's been difficult before? This is all about leveraging into that growth mindset. Not every opportunity is going to be easy, but remind yourself, capability is built in those tough moments. Sure, being underestimated, it's not fun, it's not fair, and it's certainly not comfortable. But it is something that you can navigate and work your way through, because when it happens, you've got choices. You can let it shrink you, you can let it diminish you, or you can use it to your advantage. You can observe more carefully, prepare more deeply, move more strategically, build your strengths, your capabilities, your positioning, your relationships. And when you keep doing that and keep doing the work that matters over time, those perceptions will change. As author Scott Lynch once said, there's no freedom quite like the freedom of being constantly underestimated. So the next time you see someone underestimating you, pause before you react and then ask yourself, what advantage does this give me and how can I use it wisely? Lots to think about this week. Take care. Have a great week.